In the year 2067, something strange was happening all over Earth. Young men were disappearing from cities, towns, and even villages. No one knew how. There was no blood, no broken doors, no noise. One moment they were there, the next gone. People were scared. News channels were full of missing posters. Social media was flooded with pictures of brothers, sons, and husbands who never came home. Some people said it was the government. Some said it was a secret experiment. But others, they blamed aliens. Still, there was no proof. Then one man came back. His name was Ethan Cole. He had been missing for 2 months. People found him walking alone on a highway in the middle of the night. He was weak, dirty, and half mad. Doctors tried to talk to him, but he barely spoke. The only thing he ever said was, "They want our seed." Far from the city, in a forest area in Colorado, lived a man named Jack Carter. He was ex-military. He didn't trust the system. After leaving the army, he built a small wooden cabin in the forest and lived alone. No internet, no phone. Just peace and silence. Jack's only connection to the world was his best friend Mike, who visited him once every week. They hunted, fished, and talked about the old days. Mike always brought him food and news from the city. One evening, as the sun was setting behind the trees, Jack sat by the fire, cleaning his rifle. Mike was late, very late. Hours passed. The forest became dark. Jack felt something strange in the air. The night was too quiet. Even the crickets had stopped singing. Suddenly, he heard a sound. A low humming noise like a giant machine above the trees. Jack grabbed his rifle and stepped outside. High above the forest, something was floating. A smooth, black shape. Like a spaceship from a movie. It had no windows, no lights. Just a soft blue glow at the bottom. It hovered silently over the trees, like it was watching. Then, without warning, a beam of blue light shot down from the ship. Jack watched in shock as something or someone was lifted into the air. He ran toward the light, yelling Mike's name. But by the time he reached the spot, the light was gone. The ship vanished. There was nothing left. No footprints. No sign of Mike. Only Jack, standing in the middle of the forest, alone. The next morning, Jack packed his bag. He knew something big was happening. He had seen war. He had seen chaos, but nothing like this. He hiked down the mountain to the nearest town. There, he found more missing people, posters everywhere. More men gone. The police had no answers. The news had stopped talking about it. Jack tried to report what he saw, but they didn't believe him. They called him crazy. So he went to Ethan Cole, the man who had returned. Ethan was in a mental hospital now. Jack used his old army ID to get inside. Ethan sat in a dark room, staring at the wall. Jack walked in slowly. "Ethan," he said. "My name is Jack. I saw it too." Ethan turned his head. His eyes were red and tired. "They take the strong ones," he whispered. "Men, they test us, they breed us." Jack frowned. "Breed?" And Finn nodded. "They're women, not like ours. They need humans to create something new, something powerful. Why?" Jack asked. "They're losing a war, somewhere far in space. They need soldiers. Strong ones, fast ones, so they mix us." Jack didn't want to believe it. But deep down, he knew Ethan was telling the truth. "What do they want now?" Jack asked. Ethan looked him in the eyes and said softly, "You, me, all of us. They won't stop until they have what they need." That night, Jack returned to his cabin. He checked his rifles, packed food, water, and maps. He didn't know what was coming, but he knew one thing for sure. The disappearances were not random. Someone or something was choosing men like him. And now, they knew about Jack Carter. As the stars lit up the night sky, Jack stood outside his cabin, staring up. He didn't run. He waited. And then the light returned. Darkness. Cold. Silence. That was all Jack Carter felt when he opened his eyes. There was no ground under him. He was floating, naked, inside a glowing blue tube filled with thick liquid. His body was numb. His lungs burned. His heart beat like a drum in his chest. Then, with a sharp hiss, the tube opened. Liquid poured out, and Jack fell hard onto a cold metal floor, coughing and gasping for air. Bright lights blinded him. Shadows moved around him, tall, slim figures with silver skin and glowing purple eyes. They didn't speak. They didn't blink. They just watched him. Jack tried to stand, but his muscles were weak. One of the creatures stepped forward. Unlike the others, this one was clearly female, tall, elegant, with sharp features and long white hair that moved like mist. Her eyes glowed brighter than the rest. She knelt beside Jack and touched his forehead. Her skin was ice cold. Then a voice entered Jack's mind, not spoken aloud, but heard inside his thoughts. "You are awake. Good. You were strong enough to survive the collection process. Many are not." Jack's eyes widened. "Where am I? What are you?" "I am Nixara, first matron of the Kalari. You are on one of our life ships, far above your Earth." He looked around and saw more tubes, hundreds of them, each holding a man, some unconscious, some screaming, some silent. "What do you want from us?" Jack asked, his voice shaking. Nixara tilted her head. "Your kind is rare, strong, adaptive, perfect for what we need." She stood up and gestured to a glass wall that suddenly turned transparent. On the other side, Jack saw something that made his stomach turn. Children, dozens of them. But not normal children. They were wrong. Taller than they should be. Pale skin. Glowing eyes. Their bodies were human-shaped, but their bones moved too smoothly, too fast. Some had small ridges along their arms and backs. Their faces were almost human. Almost. They were training. Running. Fighting. Lifting weights far too heavy for a child. Jack stared in shock. "What are those?" Nixara's voice echoed again in his mind. "Our future. They are born from Kalari females. And your human DNA, you call them hybrids. We call them super soldiers." Jack backed away, his breath quick. "You're using us to breed these things?" Nixara nodded calmly. "Our males are too weak. Our species is dying. But your kind, your seed, brings new power, intelligence, speed, emotion. Everything we lack." Jack's fists clenched. "This is sick. You can't just take people, force them." Nixara raised her hand. Jack froze, unable to move. "You don't understand. Jack Carter, you are not a prisoner. You are chosen. You are part of something greater than your small dying planet." Suddenly, the door behind her opened. Another alien female entered, taller than Nixara, her face marked with strange symbols. She held a small child in her arms. The child looked up. Half human, half alien. Brown hair, green eyes, Jack's eyes. He stared in silence. Nixara smiled slightly. "This one is yours, one of the strongest we've made." Jack took a step back, his heart racing. "No, that's not possible." The child looked at Jack for a long moment, then whispered a single word in perfect English. "Father." Jack was taken to a large chamber, a kind of living area. There were more men inside. Some were angry, some were terrified. But a few looked happy, relaxed, even proud. They spoke in whispers. "They feed us, keep us healthy. I have 4 children. Already, they're amazing. They said they'll let us live in peace when the war ends." But Jack didn't believe the lies. He knew war. He had fought in one. And this wasn't peace. This was farming. That night, while pretending to sleep, Jack explored the edge of his room. He found a small vent. Behind it, a tunnel. He crawled through it, heart pounding. At the end, he found a dark chamber. Inside were files, screens, test results. One screen showed Earth, Red dots appeared in clusters, more abductions happening. Another showed lists of names. Jack's was on it. Beside his name, compatible. High breeding success. Strong emotional resistance. Then he found a list titled, Next Target Zones. His heart dropped when he saw the next name. Emily Carter, age 17, status. Sister, location, Earth. Jack's face turned cold. They weren't just taking men anymore. They were coming for everyone. And now, it was personal. He should have killed her when he had the chance. That's the thought burning in Jack Carter's mind as he watches Nixara on a giant screen in the training hall. She's giving orders in her strange alien tongue. Behind her, hundreds of hybrid children stand in perfect rows, silent, still and ready for war. Each child is a weapon, built to destroy. And Jack? He helped make them. Without ever saying yes, days had passed since Jack discovered his sister's name on the alien list. He had tried to send a warning to Earth, but there was no signal, no way to break through their tech. Now he was a tool, a donor, a breeder, but Jack wasn't giving up. He had a new mission now. Find the rebellion. Destroy the program. Save his sister. He was walking through a metal hallway when he first met her. A girl, no older than 13, stood alone near a locked door. Her skin was pale like the others, but her eyes weren't purple. They were deep ocean blue, human blue. She stared at Jack, curious. Then she spoke. You don't belong here. Jack paused. Neither do you. The girl tilted her head. I'm Rhea. I learned faster than the others. They say I'm broken. Broken? Jack frowned. Rhea looked down. I ask questions. They hate questions. That was enough for Jack. He decided to trust her. Over the next few days, Jack spent time with Rhea. She was faster than the others, yes, but also kinder. While other hybrids fought and trained without feeling, Rhea painted strange pictures on the walls with glowing ink. She sang soft songs in a language Jack didn't understand. He taught her how to make jokes. She taught him how to move through the ship unseen. They became a team. One night, Jack and Rhea snuck into a restricted area, a room filled with memory crystals. These crystals stored information, experiments, DNA records, and training logs. There, Jack found something terrifying. The hybrids weren't just soldiers. They were programmed to hate humans. A secret virus was being added to their minds through training videos. The Kalari wanted to use human DNA and then wipe humans out forever. Nixara's voice echoed from a nearby recording. We take their strength. Then we erase their soul. Rhea watched it too. Tears ran down her face. First time Jack had seen a hybrid cry. Jack knew what he had to do. He and Rhea escaped into the deep levels of the ship, an area abandoned and dark. There, hidden in the old walls, was a secret base. A human base. The rebellion. Inside were a few survivors, former soldiers, scientists, and even a Kalari outcast who had turned against her queen. They had been hiding for years, waiting for someone like Jack to join them. Jack told them everything. The training, the virus, his sister's name on the list. The leader of the rebellion, a scarred woman named Dr. Lang, stared at him in silence. Then she smiled. You're the first breeder to fight back, she said. Maybe we finally have a chance. With Rhea's help, Jack led the rebels through hidden tunnels inside the ship. They began sabotaging the Kalari systems, cutting off power, freeing prisoners, destroying data. But the hybrids were watching, and one of them, strongest of all, had a special mission. Find Jack Carter, bring him alive, or bring him in pieces. Jack didn't sleep much anymore. Every corner of the ship felt like a trap. Every whisper in the dark might be the sound of a hybrid tracking him. But when he looked at Rhea, he saw hope. She was proof that the Kalari couldn't fully control what they created, that humanity could survive, even inside an alien body. One evening, as Jack sat alone, Rhea walked up to him and placed something in his hand, a small locket made of bone and crystal. Inside it was a drawing of Earth. She had never seen Earth, but she dreamed of it every night. "I want to go there," she said softly. Jack looked at the stars outside the glass window. "Then we'll burn this place down," he said, "and take you home." The first explosion wasn't loud. It was soft. Like a whisper, but in space. Even whispers can start wars. Deep inside the alien ship past the breeding chambers, the hybrid training zones, and the mind control halls, a section of the power grid blinked out. Lights flickered. Doors jammed. Surveillance screens turned to static. The Kalari thought it was a glitch. It wasn't. It was a message. The humans are no longer afraid. Jack Carter stood in the dark, heart pounding, as the second explosion shook the hallway behind him. Pipes burst. Fire spread. Alarms screamed in a language he didn't understand. He looked at Rhea, the hybrid girl who now called him Dad. She smiled for the first time. "They're coming," she said. 30 humans marched through the broken tunnels, men and women from Earth who had been prisoners, breeders, rebels, or scientists. They wore stolen armor, held alien weapons. Some looked tired. Some looked scared, but all of them looked ready. They were the rebellion, and this was their moment. Jack had never planned to be a leader. He was a soldier, a survivor, a man who wanted to be left alone in a cabin in the woods. But the aliens took his friend, took his freedom, tried to take his sister, and now he was going to take something back. Everything. Inside the rebel base, a hologram of the ship glowed blue. Dr. Lang pointed at the core chamber, a massive room that controlled the hybrid brainwave programming. "That's their brain," she said. "Destroy it, and every hybrid will be free to choose who." "They really are," Jack nodded. "And if we don't?" "They stay machines," Lang said. "Obedient, cold, weapons without souls." Rhea stepped forward. "I'll lead you through the ventilation system." "They won't sense me." Jack shook his head. "It's too dangerous." "I'm not human," Rhea said. "But I want to be." That was enough. As the team moved out, Nixara stood calmly on the upper deck of the ship. Her purple eyes glowed brighter than ever. She wasn't angry. She was amused. "Let them try," she told her soldiers. "They're human. Chaos is in their blood, but so is failure." She turned to her champion, a hybrid named Varen, created from 5 different bloodlines. "Strong, silent, deadly. Bring me Jack Carter," Nixara said. "Alive if possible, broken if not." Meanwhile, Jack and the rebels reached the central hallway. 2 guards spotted them, Kalari warriors with energy spears. Jack didn't wait. He raised his stolen plasma gun and fired. The guards fell. More came. The fight was loud, fast, and brutal. Humans screamed. Hybrids roared. Laser beams cut through the air. Rhea moved like wind, too fast to catch, too smart to stop. She disabled the locks, opened secret paths, and whispered warnings to Jack through a tiny cum in his ear. 2 coming from behind. "Duck now, left door is clear." They trusted her. She was no longer a test subject. She was their eyes. Inside the core chamber, a giant glowing machine pulsed like a heart. Cables ran into the walls, the floors, even into the hybrid training areas. This was the virus engine, source of their control. Jack placed the charges around the room while Lang's team uploaded a virus of their own, one that could break the control, not just destroy it. They had 10 minutes. Then they heard it. Footsteps, heavy, not human. Varan. Jack turned to see the giant hybrid step into the chamber. His skin shimmered with armor. His eyes were full of hatred, but also pain. "You should not exist," Varan growled. Jack raised his weapon. "I could say the same about you." The fight was brutal. Varan was stronger, faster. Every punch he landed felt like a hammer. Jack's ribs cracked. His blood hit the floor. But Jack fought like Earth was on his back, because it was. Rhea jumped onto Varen's back, digging a stolen blade into the control node behind his neck. The hybrid roared and threw her across the room, but in that moment, Jack saw a weak spot. He grabbed a cable from the machine, charged with energy, and shoved it into Varen's neck. Electricity lit up the room. Varen screamed, then fell, dead or. Unconscious. Jack didn't care. He turned to Lang. Now. The virus uploaded. The room exploded in light. Somewhere across the ship, hundreds of hybrid children stopped moving. They blinked, looked around. For the first time, they asked their own questions. One of them whispered, "Where am I?" Back in the chamber, Jack limped toward Rhea. She was hurt, but alive. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded. "We did it." He looked at the clock. 1 minute to full overload. The ship would burn. But first, he had to send one final message to Earth. Earth didn't see it coming. Not the leaders. Not the armies. Not even the satellites. They were too busy fighting each other wars over water, land, and power while something far worse fell from the sky. The first Kalari ship entered Earth's orbit just before dawn. It was massive, black as space, shaped like a blade. It made no sound. And then it began to rain. But it wasn't water. It was hybrid soldiers. In the middle of the chaos, Emily Carter, Jack's younger sister, was running through the smoke-filled streets of Chicago. She wasn't a soldier. She wasn't ready. But she was a Carter, and Carter's fight. 6 days earlier, Emily had received a strange message on an old emergency frequency. A voice, broken, tired, but familiar. "Emily, it's me, Jack. They're coming for Earth. Hide. Survive. If you find the hybrid girl named Rhea, trust her. She's one of us now." That was all. Then silence. Now, cities were burning. Governments were collapsing. Kalari ships hovered above capitals, releasing hybrid squads with glowing weapons. Human bullets barely worked. Explosions did little. And worst of all, some humans joined them. They believed the Kalari offered peace, power, purpose. They were wrong. In a hidden command bunker deep under Nevada, a group of world leaders, generals, and scientists sat around a flickering holomap. Red dots covered the screen. Losses. Cities fallen. At the edge of the room stood Jack Carter, alive, bruised, and burning with purpose. Beside him stood Rhea, now armored in a mix of Kalari tech and human steel. Her eyes glowed, but her heart beat human. They had returned to Earth with a stolen dropship and a message. "We can win, but not like this." Jack walked to the center of the room. "I've seen what the Kalari can do," he said. "I've fought their soldiers. I've helped create them. And I've learned one thing: they're not invincible." The room went silent. He continued. "They built their army using us. Our DNA, our emotions. But now we turn that against them." He nodded to Rhea. She stepped forward and tapped into the system. A new map appeared, showing a hidden Kalari command ship in orbit, controlling all ground units through a signal called the Pulse. Destroy the ship, and every hybrid on Earth would be free to choose. No control. No orders. No war. Just choice. But there was a problem. The ship was shielded. Only someone with Kalari blood could get close enough to shut it down. And that meant Rhea. "Send me," she said. Shook his head. "It's suicide." She looked at him with those human blue eyes. "You said I was more than a weapon. Let me prove it." Hours later, Earth launched a desperate strike. Jack and Rhea leading a stolen Kalari dropship straight into orbit. Behind them, Earth's last airships followed. The plan was simple: buy Rhea time, keep her alive. End the signal. As they entered space, Jack looked down at the burning world below. He saw cities in flames, ships falling, children hiding in broken homes. He thought of Emily. He thought of Mike. He thought of every face stolen by this war. "Hold on, Earth," he whispered. "Your nightmare is almost over." Inside the Kalari command ship, Alarms rang as Jack's team fought their way through sleek black halls. Rhea moved like lightning, cutting through guards with alien blades and shielding. Jack from blasts. They reached the core chamber. It pulsed with energy. A living brain. Rhea stepped inside. Jack grabbed her wrist. "You sure?" She smiled softly. "You made me human, Jack. Let me give humanity a future." As she linked her blood to the core, Nyxara appeared, her voice like thunder in their minds. "You betray your own kind, child." Rhea looked up. Calm. Brave. "I choose who my kind is now." With one final breath, she shut down the pulse. Across Earth, hybrids collapsed. Then slowly stood again. Confused. Free. Some wept. Some dropped their weapons. Some looked at humans and didn't see enemies anymore. They saw people. Back in the command ship, the core exploded in light. Jack carried Rhea's limp body through the fire, screaming her name. They escaped just in time. Back on Earth, Emily found Jack days later at a refugee camp. He looked older. Tired. But alive. She ran to him, hugged him. "You made it." He nodded. "So did we all." And in the far tent, Rhea opened her eyes. The girl built for war. Now Earth's greatest hope for peace. It began with silence. No explosions. No screams. Just silence. Then the birds fell from the sky. One by one. Dead before they hit the ground. And that's when Earth realized Nyxara wasn't gone. She was just getting started. Far above the planet, hidden behind a shattered moon, a dark shape stirred. Larger than any Kalari ship before. Alive. Breathing. Pulsing like a beating heart. It wasn't made of metal. It was made of flesh and memory. The Mind Eater, Nyxara's final weapon. A living warship built from the minds of thousands of abducted humans, trapped, connected, and twisted into something new on Earth. Jack Carter stood on a rooftop overlooking the ruins of Washington, D.C. Rebuilding had begun. People were hopeful. The hybrids, now free, helped carry supplies and rescue children from broken homes. But Jack felt it before anyone else, like a cold wind in his bones. A storm was coming. Inside the rebel command center, alarms screamed as the Mind Eater entered orbit. Satellites failed instantly. Communication networks collapsed. Even thoughts felt heavier. Dr. Lang clutched her head. "It's psychic interference," she said. "We're being watched." Rhea, still recovering, sat in a quiet room sketching flowers with charcoal on the wall. She froze. Her eyes turned white. She saw things no one else could. 1,000 voices whispering. A memory that wasn't hers. "Jack," she said quietly. "She's still alive. And she's inside us now." Jack rushed to her. "What do you mean inside?" Rhea pointed to her head. "She found a way to link to the hybrids, to all of us. She's using what's left of our connection to feed her ship, our thoughts, our pain, our memories." Jack's face went cold. "Then we destroy it, just like the last one." Rhea shook her head. "You can't. You'd kill every human still inside it." Jack stood in front of the War Council. They argued, shouted, fought. Burn it down or save the minds. Trapped inside, Jack made his choice. We go in. Not with missiles. Not with armies. With minds. The plan was insane, but it was the only one they had. Small team of humans and hybrids would be sent into the Mind Eater, not physically but psychically, using stolen Kalari tech. A mental link. A dream dive. If they could reach the core consciousness, they could free the trapped minds and kill Nyxara from within. The team was chosen. Jack, the war-torn soldier with nothing left to lose. Rhea, the hybrid girl with more humanity than most humans. Dr. Lang, the brilliant mind who helped create the virus. And Elias, a silent hybrid boy with the rare gift of memory transfer. They entered the machine. Their bodies stayed behind, but their minds dropped into something deeper than sleep. Inside the Mind Eater, reality twisted, skies bled black, Buildings floated upside down. Faces of lost loved ones. Whispered lies. Jack walked through a city made of memory. His childhood home, his army camp, the cabin in the woods. And then his sister. Emily. But it wasn't her. It was Nixara, wearing her face. You tried to erase me, Jack, she said, voice soft and cold. But I live inside every scream, every tear, every child I created. He pointed his rifle. Then I'll end every part of you. The dream turned to war. The ground cracked. Lightning fell. Ghosts screamed. Dr. Lang was pulled into a memory trap, reliving her husband's death over and over. Elias vanished into shadow. Only Jack and Rhea made it to the core. There, they saw it. A massive heart, beating, glowing. And inside it, the real NYXRA. Half body, half mind, still alive, plugged into thousands of human minds. I offered you greatness, she hissed. Jack walked forward. You stole life. We took it back. Rhea raised her hands, her hybrid powers glowing. She linked with the heart. Every human memory trapped inside began to shine. Voices broke free. Help us. Don't forget me. My name is... Jack looked at Rhea. You. Ready? Tears in her eyes. I was born to end this. She let go. And the Mind-Eater screamed. Not with sound, but with pure thought. Pain, rage, regret. Then, silence, back on Earth. The sky cleared. The pressure vanished. People looked up. And saw light. Jack woke up days later, in a hospital tent. Emily sat beside him. You came back, she said. He smiled weakly. So did she? Emily nodded toward the edge of the camp. There stood Rhea. Alive. Different. But smiling. The war wasn't over. But Earth had survived Nixara's wrath. And humanity had just proven, we don't go down easy. War doesn't end with silence. It ends with questions. What now? Who leads? What kind of future rises from the ashes of broken cities and broken hearts? For the first time in history, those answers didn't belong to humans alone. They belonged to hybrids. The sky over Earth was blue again. No ships. No explosions. No screams. Just wind. And in that quiet wind, a strange sound echoed across the world. Children laughing. Not normal children. Children with silver eyes. Pale skin. Hearts built from both stars and Earth. The hybrids were finally free. And now, they had to choose who they wanted to be. In the center of what was once a battlefield, Jack Carter stood on a metal platform surrounded by people, soldiers, leaders, survivors, and hybrids. His arm was still wrapped in bandages. His ribs still bruised. But he stood tall. Beside him stood Rhea, no longer just a girl, now a symbol, a bridge. She wore no armor, no weapons. Only a white scarf and a calm expression. Her voice carried like wind through trees. We were made for war, she said. But we choose peace. The leaders of Earth nations, once divided, now watched quietly. Some still feared the hybrids. Some still called them tools. Others miracles. Jack spoke next. They came to use us. We fought to survive. But now we have to do something harder, live together. There was no applause. Just silence. Then one hybrid child, barely 5 years old, walked up to a human girl and offered her a flower. She smiled. That was enough. In the days that followed, old flags were lowered, new ones were drawn. A new world council was formed, half human, half hybrid. They called it the Unity Pact. The mission, rebuild, share knowledge, protect Earth from the stars above. Never repeat the mistakes that almost ended them all. Emily Carter became Earth's voice in the council. Dr. Lang returned to her lab, now working to heal instead of build weapons. Elias, the silent hybrid, became a teacher, helping new generations understand both sides of their blood. And Rhea? She disappeared, not into hiding, but into legend. Some say she travels the world, helping hybrid children find their place. Others say she's building something in the desert, something big. Jack Carter didn't stay on Earth. He couldn't. He boarded a new ship made with hybrid tech and human grit. Ship without weapons. Only maps. He was going to the stars. Not to fight, but to make sure no one ever tried to enslave Earth again. He left a final message before his launch. We were not made to serve. We were not made to kneel. We were made to choose. And we choose to rise. 10 years later, in a quiet school under the mountains, a hybrid child raises her hand. Teacher, she asks, what was the HFY war? The teacher smiles. A time when the galaxy thought humanity was weak and found out we were something else entirely. And far beyond Earth, a small ship sails past a blue star. Inside it, a man with scars and gray hair drinks black coffee and stares at a photo of a girl with blue eyes. He smiles, still watching, still protecting, still human.